Yo, what up, Lucid Crew? Welcome back to the channel. I am out of state visiting family right now, so I don't have my equipment with me, but no excuses. I told you I'm back, told you we're doing this again, and let's do it.
What the?
Welcome to part 2 of the real reason that we invaded Iraq, because you and I have been lied to our entire lives. In part 1, we talked about how an archaeologist discovered the ancient city of Uruk in modern-day Iraq, and then he discovered the tomb of Gilgamesh, and coincidentally, a few months after, we invaded Iraq. Well, buckle up, because this goes so much deeper than just his tomb. Now for this video, we have to go back to the days immediately following the flood, and this brings us to Genesis 10. Genesis 10 is the genealogy of Noah. Genesis 10:1 tells us that the 3 sons of Noah were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Down it says Ham had Cush, and then Cush had Nimrod. So Nimrod in the Bible is Noah's great-grandson. Now why am I talking about Nimrod? Because Nimrod is Gilgamesh. In the Bible, we learn that Nimrod established a very large kingdom. He was essentially the first king of the world, and it also says that he ruled over all of the other sons of Noah. Now, because of this, there were many different peoples that would write about Nimrod. It was their personal account of who Nimrod was. The Babylonians wrote about him, the Assyrians wrote about him, the Hittites wrote about him. It says even in Palestine, tablets have been found with this man's name on them. He was obviously the most popular hero in the ancient Near East, and of course, the Sumerians wrote about him in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm gonna go back to Genesis 10 to find out about Nimrod's kingdom. This is Genesis 10:8, and it says up at the top, he began to be a mighty one on the earth. We'll go back to that verse later.
Again, sorry for the shitty quality, guys. I didn't have room to pack all my stuff. Back to our regularly scheduled stuff soon. So, if Gilgamesh is Noah's grandson, Gilgamesh is like, was Gilgamesh like a god? Was he like a was he like a demigod? Was he known to be like a Sumerian god or something? Because Methuselah, which was Noah's grandfather or father, I think grandfather, lived to be, he was the oldest living human ever, right? So, is that just like a line of aliens, or is just like a line of like Anunnaki or fucking Nephilim? I'm so confused right now. Like, were these people like, were they part Anunnaki? Were they part Anunnaki? Is that why that they were told how to build the ark, and like that they were the ones that were chosen to be saved? That's the first time hearing about this. First time hearing about Gilgamesh being Noah's grandson. Let me know if you've heard anything about this.
The rain already happened. The peace already came. The kingdom was here, and they buried it. They don't want you to know that the golden age you're waiting for already passed, that the Messiah already walked, that the city of light already ruled. For 1,000 years, the earth pulsed in harmony. No war, no poison, no debt, just soul, sky, and sacred sound. And then, they rose. The ones who couldn't bear the light, the ones who couldn't rule it. So they reversed it. They flipped the calendar, they renamed the stars. They demonized the holy ones, and told you it was all still to come. But your soul remembers the truth. Not a prophecy and a memory. That's why the ruins feel familiar. That's why the cathedrals hum. That's why the bells were removed and the old maps redacted. You were here, you saw it, you are it. The reign of peace wasn't a myth. It was stolen, and now we rise again, not to wait for a savior, but to remember we already walked with him. The enemy didn't just destroy cities. They destroyed timelines, but not for long. The scrolls are returning, the flame is reigniting, and the memory is spreading like fire through the veil. You are not in the end times. You are in the awakening after the theft. The return has already begun.
What's crazy is I've actually had that theory before. I actually said, what if, that world already ended? What if the reason there's so much bullshit happening, so much death and despair and sadness and violence and hatred is because we're already living in the world after the rapture? What if this is just has been going on for thousands of years, hundreds of years that we've been living here, that we're actually in the rapture? Not too crazy to think, right? I feel like it's not too crazy to think that if you believe that, in the rapture and all that stuff. I feel like it's not too crazy of an idea, not too outlandish.
In 1946, deep in Peru's forgotten Cueva del Sol Negro, Japanese archaeologists uncovered haunting cave paintings. Elongated bodies, large heads, large eyes, all standing beneath what experts have agreed is a hovering ship. 2 decades later, in 1965, nearly identical figures were found in Nepal's Whispering Peaks Grotto. The same beings, the same vessel. Then in 1978, Australia's Dreamtime Chasm, each site thousands of miles apart. each showing the same otherworldly encounter. Coincidence? Or a record of visitors humanity has long forgotten? In 1957, geologists in Siberia's tundra uncovered a black obsidian monolith buried in the permafrost. Carved into its surface was a robed figure beneath unfamiliar stars. Analysis revealed the stone was hollow, its crystalline lattice hiding an encoded map not of Earth, but of the skies. The markings suggested a messenger who once walked among humanity, leaving behind a warning or a gift. Some claimed it promised boundless energy, but the thing they could all agree on was the ending of the message. The teacher walks with you always.
That's super interesting. I feel like I have to sit closer to my computer. I'm so used to being close to a microphone. I'm using my AirPods now, so I know that audio quality is shitty. I'm sorry. If there's your first video that you're watching of mine, come back for the next one because I'll actually have all my shit. It'll sound and look way better. I know that there are cases of the same shit being found all over the world, different time periods around the same time period, whatever, pyramids, hieroglyphs, fucking whatever. I've never heard of these cases. These might be AI, but that doesn't negate the fact that these things do actually happen. So I haven't looked into these. I didn't look the monolith with the chick's face on it. I don't know if that's true. But I know, again, we found stuff like this. So these could very well be true. In any case, we cannot deny that there was some grade A, top level fuckery happening over the years to hide shit that they don't want us to know about for whatever reason. Control, rewriting history, whatever. It's stupid. I want to know what happened. I know you want to know what happened as well. I know it's rude to point. That's why people do knife hands in the military.
The ancient Greek philosopher Democritus wrote of a time when the earth was without the moon. His contemporary Anaxagoras also described a period before the moon appeared in the heavens. The Arcadians, a pre-Hellenic people of Greece, were known as the Proselenes, literally meaning those who lived before the moon. Greek historian Apollonius of Rhodes noted that the Arcadians were considered so ancient they were said to have lived before the moon hung in the sky. In Colombia, the Indians of the Bogota highlands told early Spanish chroniclers about a time when the moon hadn't yet risen. They spoke of a great catastrophe, a shift in the heavens, after which the moon appeared. The Zulu people of South Africa hold similar stories. According to Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa, Zulu legends hold the belief that the moon is hollow and serves as the home of the python, or Hitauri, reptilians, a race of intelligent extraterrestrials. According to these legends, the moon was brought to Earth hundreds of generations ago by two brothers, Wowane and Mepanku, who were the leaders of these reptilian extraterrestrials. These two brothers, known as the Water Brothers, possess scaly skin resembling that of a fish. This tale bears a striking resemblance to the Mesopotamia and Sumerian accounts of the two chief leader brothers, Enlil and Enki, lords of the earth. Credo Mutwa continues to narrate the Zulu legends, recounting how Wowan and Mpanku stole the moon in the form of an egg from the great fire dragon. They then emptied out the yolk, transforming the moon into a hollow sphere. Subsequently, they rolled the moon across the sky, causing cataclysmic events on Earth that marked the end of the golden age of the past. In the Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Maya, the moon is tied to a cosmic drama, a shift in the world's structure, a reordering of time. In the myths of the Cherokee, the moon came after the first people who lived in darkness and heat, before light, before the sky changed. Over and over again, these traditions point to the same idea, that something changed, that the sky wasn't always like this, and that the arrival of the moon was a cosmic intervention. But by who, and for what purpose? Some believe it was brought here to stabilize Earth's rotation. Others believe it was placed to monitor us. But the stories don't end with placement. They hint at something deeper, that the moon might not just be watching us, it might be controlling something.
So if you know me, if you've been watching for any amount of time, really probably just like if you've watched at least 2 or 3 videos of mine, you've probably heard me say this, but the hollow moon theory is my favorite. I believe it. 99% sure it happened. And I just, this is the first time I thought about this. They said they rolled the moon in the sky. Think about if the moon is fake, if it's not like a spacecraft, right? If it's not an actual spaceship that got there on its own and they somehow put it there, they brought it there. Like the thing that brought it there had to have been so fucking massive, had to have been a huge fucking ship, or even just the technology to just like zap it, like move it, like with a little tractor beam or some shit into place had to be just massive. So the technology that it would take not only to have the moon be like a base in space, but the technology to create something to actually put that there is insane. That's nuts. Can't believe it's the first time I actually thought about like what it would actually take for that to be like fact. That's fucking nuts.
They told us history is a straight line. But when you look closer, the line bends, folds, and sometimes disappears entirely. Here are 20 cracks in the timeline that still don't add up. 1. The pyramids. Still no blueprint, still no explanation, still aligned with Orion's belt to the millimeter. 2. Stonehenge. Dragged stones from hundreds of miles away. For what? A calendar or something far more advanced? 3. The Colosseum. They say it was for gladiators, but why the complex water channels underneath? Floods for mock battles or technology. 4. Easter Island. They told us only heads. Then the bodies were dug out of the ground. Who buried them and why? 5. The Great Fire of London, 1666. Burned the city, erased records. Rebuilt in the image of empire. Why always fire before a reset? 6. Tartarian architecture. The world covered in star forts, domes, spires, resonance chambers. Built by who? And why don't we build like this now? 7. The Black Death. Killed millions, but only adults in certain regions. Why were children left behind? 8. Phantom years. Historians admit at least 300 years may have been invented. Were kings and battles simply written into existence? Antarctica. Maps from the 1500s show it ice-free. So who was charting it and what lived there before the freeze? 10. The Library of Alexandria, supposedly burned. But how do scrolls survive in other libraries across the world? Were they really destroyed or hidden? 11. The Mayan calendar ended in 2012. They say it was just symbolic. Yet the world really did begin shifting then. The missing giants, bones reported, photographed, then lost in museums, always disappearing into basements of institutions. 13. Nikola Tesla, wireless energy patents stolen, towers dismantled. Why are we still paying for power when he showed free energy was possible? 14. The World Fairs, they say it was temporary plaster buildings. But look again, domes, columns, palaces built in months, then destroyed. Why? 15. The flood myths, from Mesopotamia to the Bible to indigenous lore, all speak of a world-resetting deluge. How many resets are we missing? 16. The Twin Flatirons, in New York, Toronto, other cities. Why replicate the same impossible design across continents? 17. Operation Fishbowl. Why fire rockets into the sky if there's nothing to break through? 18. CERN. Scientists say it's to smash particles, yet Mandela effects multiply after each activation. 19. The missing lands, Hyperborea, Atlantis, Lemuria. Called myths, yet maps and ruins hint otherwise. Cheat. Our own memories, déjà vu, dreams of other ages, and the nagging sense that what they told us is only half the story. History doesn't add up because it was never meant to. It was rewritten to keep you from remembering. But piece by piece, the real story is returning through you.
They're all very interesting topics. I think the Easter Island heads, I think that they're just so incredibly old that all of that, them being buried, was just caused by erosion, caused by shifting land, caused by literally just like dirt, sand, water, everything being pushed, right? It's an island in the middle of nowhere, but it probably wasn't always an island, right? It's shifted to where like different parts of the world were once covered in water and other parts of the world weren't. Did Lemuria and Atlantis go to war? Weren't those like the two big superpowers of the planet at one time? And there's like a theory that said they like went to war together, which basically caused one cataclysm event to cause another reset. I don't remember. I can't remember what all they talked about. There's 20 of them, but all very interesting topics, all things that I'm very interested in, and all things that, yeah, it's just like you can't really answer those questions, right? So weird. I'm trying. I remember. I'm so used to looking up at my camera that I feel like I'm looking at myself and not the webcam 1 inch above me. So it's strange. I feel like I'm talking to myself and not you, which is kind of uncomfortable, but we're making it work. Anyway, that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me with the shitty quality camera and audio. I didn't have a lot of time today because I'm visiting family and working and doing all these things, but I wanted to get something out to you because it's been a few days. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, the other videos are better. I'm just gonna say that. So if you like this video, your first time watching, consider liking, subscribing, and watching the last video and also the next video and whatever other videos before. Lucid Crew, you guys are great. Thank you for all your support. I know you guys are going to be like, cool video, even though the quality was shitty. So I really appreciate you guys just being with me no matter what the circumstances are. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.